The defense headquarters say 16 military men were killed during a communal clash in Delta State. A statement signed by the Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tuko Guso, said the men met their untimely death while responding to a distress call during a clash between Okwama and Okoloba communities in Delta State. The Army said the commanding officer who led the reinforcement team was among those killed in the clash. The soldiers are from the 181 Amphibious Battalion, Bomadi local government area of Delta State. The statement said the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, had ordered a probe into the matter, while the matter had been reported to the state government. I'm now being joined here by former Army Intelligence Officer, military strategist and policy analyst, Captain Umar Aliyu-Babangida, retired. Good to have you on This Day Live, Captain.
Good afternoon, sir. The pleasure is mine.
Well, 16 military personnel, including a commanding officer.
Yeah, very sad indeed.
2 major, 1 captain, and then 12 servicemen. It looks like a whole unit of the Nigerian military wiped out. Some people have described this as a national tragedy. Some have said, look, this is a direct assault on our values as a country. What do you say?
Indeed, it is. And I can assure you, it's a national tragedy, sir. But you can see that we have become benumbed or probably inane to national tragedies, having suffered even bigger ones than this. Just kind of relapsed with time and, rest on our oars and wait for the next one to happen. The last one that came close to this happened in Niger State, where we lost an Mi-171 helicopter or Mi-71 helicopter, I don't know the exact nomenclature, that went to rescue some ambushed soldiers, 22 of them, or was it 12? 22 of them. They were ambushed, they lost their lives, and the helicopter was on its way out of the ambush site with the corpses. And we are told it crashed, even though there are conflicting stories. Some said it was actually ambushed again, but the official story we had was it crashed. And when you look at the sum total of what we've lost there and here, you see that it's tragic for our nation. We're going to be looking at the soldiers lost. We're going to be looking at the costs invested in them that's gone. We're going to be looking at the equipment. We're going to be looking at the widows that have been created. It's indeed a national tragedy, but I make bold and I'm confident about this assertion that it is avoidable. Going forward, this kind of thing is avoidable. And it's avoidable because the 181 Amphibious Battalion is not new to its area of responsibility. 181 Amphibious Battalion is a member of that community, just the way any police station or any other government agencies that are co-located within the Bomadi AOR are part and part of Bomadi. So for the people to turn around and prey on their own gives me, goosebumps. I say it is avoidable because there are equipments we have been projecting for almost a decade that will bring to fore and galvanize the ability of our soldiers and armed forces to work effectively and proactively. But most of the times when these propositions get to the places they should, I draw cold shoulders as responses. I have sent these things to traditional rulers, clerics, people that are as close to the man at the helm of affair as my ear is to my head, and suddenly they stop taking my calls. Now, by my training as an intelligence officer, I have my own feelers. I have my own indicators which I look out for. So if I'm sending things that are meant to improve the lot of our troops, and I'm getting cold feet or I'm getting on peak calls as responses, and I know somewhere there are some 400 names that are still faceless, then I'm not going to send in any propositions anymore because I could just be complaining to the problem. So we're in a quandary national security-wise until we append a face to 400 names. Or else we may just be profiling solutions, and the same people these solutions are passing through may just be undermining everything the commander-in-chief and the service chiefs are doing.
Okay, are you suggesting that there is complicity, the possibility of complicity at the highest levels in the insecurity crisis that Nigeria faces?
Yes, the rate at which it is going, we are recycling threats. It's like a season. Take the Chibok girls, outgone administration, so the inborn, the present administration have their own equivalent of the Chibok incidents with the 278 that were taken from their schools the other day. And what do? They take these children, they ask for humongous amounts of money. Of course, you don't need the sixth sense to know that these monies will be used to buy even more equipment and weapons so they can dig in deeper.
With the specific case of what happened on Thursday in the Delta State, you said the 181 Amphibious Battalion will be a member of the community.
Yes, they are not new to that community.
Yes, but we were told that these military personnel were going to intervene and try to resolve communal clashes between two communities.
Yes.
Where does the military get involved in resolving communal clashes? Shouldn't that be the work of the police? And then they said they were beheaded, dismembered, slaughtered by some youths. I mean, these are officers of the Nigerian army. It's so difficult to believe that some bloody civilians would take on the Nigerian military and kill so many.
Yes, we must understand something, sir. You see, the rate at which we have exposed our armed forces to internal security engagements has just underscored that English adage that says familiarity breeds contempt. Our soldiers are supposed to be like a last card, our ace. But in the last 8 years, I'll tell you that there's about no state where you do not have a military presence because of the state of security in our country. Now, if those soldiers were wading into a crisis, they were going in there as, let me call them local peacekeepers. Now, the challenge with peacekeeping in such cases is you're going to draw the ire of both parties. You're going to be, if you looked at what happened in Liberia, for example, way back, when Nigerian troops went into Liberia, they drew the ire of both warring parties. There were peacekeepers, but who is a peacekeeper? A peacekeeper is a neutral body, wedging in between the two fighting bodies. Let's leave that and come back here home. What simply happens is in this kind of situation, we have gotten to a stage where our leaders should understand something. We have our back against the wall, and for our soldiers, the challenges are so many that they must be equipped to meet these challenges. I see young ones, our youth, they are so creative. They play with drones and they give me panoramic views of the Lekki Peninsula. Any tactical commander in the army today should be able to have a device on the spot 24/7 while he's on the move that can give him a panoramic view of his position. That way he can anticipate, he can preempt, he can see what's coming at least. He can see what's coming inward him up to 2 to 3 kilometers out there. You don't need the Nigerian Air Force to give a battalion commander air cover. You understand what I'm saying? When he can just, like in the case of 181 Battalion, he could actually have a device which one of his officers, who could be the aerial surveillance rep, will send up and say, incoming, I see a group of youths, they are a kilometer away. And he knows what to do and how to deploy, rather than have them decimated the way they were yesterday. And these things are very cheap to purchase.
Defense headquarters issued a statement reporting what happened. But there is a line in that statement by General Tukur
yes,
of the Defense Information Department. He stated that the matter has been reported to the Delta State government. What exactly can the Delta State government do? Well, the same statement tells us that, the Chief of Defense Staff has ordered an investigation into the matter. But that, and then the state government came forward, I think yesterday also, to say that the state will take necessary measures because what has happened is not in sync with the values of the Delta people. What exactly can the state government do in this matter?
I do not see the state government coming in to play any, effective role. What we are seeing, sir, on the tactical level, security level, is actually what I want to call an optic situation. The optics are not looking good. The optics are not looking good. What did the state governor do in Niger State after the crash? I mean, what can we look back and say he did? What could he possibly do? Nothing. What I expect to be done right now is to enter this situation in such a way that we can leave a statement. We can create the necessary optics that will begin to redeem part of that reckoning that our armed forces is fast losing. Our armed forces is fast losing its reckoning, and because it's losing its reckoning, then the constituted authority of the state, as in I'm talking at the federal level now, is going to be threatened. Don't forget, our enemies are watching. If locally we are getting decimated like this, then what will we possibly become of us if we begin to talk about other bigger non-state active threats that are foreign? There are solutions, there are blueprints. I have sent as many forward and I'm tired of doing so. If we are not in self-denial, then we have to do something because our armed forces are the last resort. If they start being rubbished by local villagers within the country, then honestly speaking, we'll be damned.
Well, as of this morning, there was a report that the affected community, the Okuma coastal community, where the soldiers were killed, has been set ablaze. And the spokesperson for the community is also claiming that soldiers stormed the community and started shooting at anything on sight. So what are we dealing with here? Another Udi, another Zakibiam. Is that how? Is that standard military procedure?
Definitely. It's not.
If a soldier is killed, you go and wipe out the community.
No, that cannot be the way forward. If I were to recommend an inroad into what has already happened, then I think that those particular communities right now should actually be a hot seat of intelligence gathering activities. If you use scorched earth policy, as we call it, that scorched earth policy, you just raise it, then a lot of things are going to go down with it. Something led to the crisis, something led to the clash. What was it? Let's start from there. We won't get information by raising it down. We will keep them alive, but we will squeeze. That's my own strategy if I had my way. We'll keep every single one of them alive, but I'll squeeze the last drop of information out of them. And it's not going to be by raising it down or burning it. Fire destroys intelligence and evidence wholly. There will be nothing left there for you to work with anymore.
Well, you talked about familiarity breeding contempt. I imagine that the soldiers, although they were going on a peace mission, they must have been armed. So how can some youths, some community youths, disarm trained officers of the Nigerian army? Indeed. What could have happened? Indeed. And what happened to the weapons that they went with?
Yes, indeed. That's why I said if you were within a community as a battalion commander, one of the first things you do is to bond with the community, to get closer. Let them understand I'm here to protect you. So when you are going in, I'm just doing a backward review now. That battalion commander would have felt confident. This is my area of responsibility. I probably know all the chiefs, the council chiefs and the elders. And some boys or some youth are misbehaving or having clashes. Let me go there and sit with them and let's resolve it. So he is not actually battle geared. He's not battle geared. He will be armed, but he's not going there with any face of war in mind. There are different phases of war. What he's going in there to do is to speak to people and say, come, let's talk. Let me be a mediator. So that may have explained the element of surprise their killers were able to exploit. That could have explained it. It's quite sad, but then that is where my recommendations come in. I have one right now. I hope the commander-in-chief gets to see it. But if it gets to one of those 400 who have not been named, it won't go anywhere. It's simple.
So you mean the Nigerian military, to be specific, is harboring some bandits and terrorists?
We cannot, sorry sir, but you see, security is invisible. It can't be seen. So nothing must be left to chance. So where you now have 400 names that are nameless, if I could put it that way, they could be anywhere. Until we know who these people are, we cannot even begin to say, okay, this one is located here, or those ones are co-located there. So you could be talking to just anyone. But as I said, this kind of thing can be avoided where a battalion commander should have a little gizmo. He could send up through his area surveillance rep at the battalion level, and while he is having his conversation, from his earphone, he could get a prompt, sir, incoming, 200, 300 men, southeast, or 9 o'clock, or 6 o'clock, because somebody has that little toy up there. I mean, our creative youth are doing magic with those things here in Lekki. How much are they? How much do they? If a youth can buy it, then we can get even more sophisticated ones for a battalion commander.
So you mean the missing link, part of the missing link in the military's effort?
There's a technology deficit.
Yeah, that's
a technology deficit.
And you believe that if they raise the level of technology...
Oh my.
Well, we are always hearing, we are acquiring platforms,
we keep hearing
combining kinetic with non-kinetic.
Those are verbiages, sir.
Okay.
They are verbiages. We need to match the words with results.
Now, what would be the mood of an average Nigerian soldier today? Reading that his colleagues were killed, in a part of the country, in broad daylight, just like that.
It's not a good thing. You see, I'll tell you how it works. In that barracks today, there will be division of labor. The wives
Okay, we'll take a short break. After the break, we'll come back and wrap up with Captain Aliyu-Babangida. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is still Captain Aliyu-Babangida, retired, and we'll be looking at the case of the 16 military personnel who were killed in Delta State on Thursday. Captain, I was asking you what the mood will be now, among soldiers, and you were talking about the widows, the orphans, division of labor in the barracks.
Yes, sorry, I'm human too. Lieutenant Colonel Ali is someone I'm close to. You see, when these things happen, what the battalion commander's wife does normally is to rally other wives together to now head to the homes of the bereaved widows or to the bereaved wives and condole and console them. But now there won't be, you understand, there won't be that because others will now condole with the battalion commander's widow if she's located within that barracks. But what I can tell you is happening in the barracks now is the wives of the officers and men will have to go all out to support the wife and children of the deceased officers. Somebody has to take care of those children because their mothers will be in no way in any mood to even know what's happening around them. Then as for the officers, it's a bit easier for us because we could still stand to man our stations while mourning. But I can tell you, morale is very low when these kind of things happen. it takes a lot to crank them back up psychologically and physically to carry on with the fight. So we've been receiving this kind of blows. Remember when General Tahiru died? Remember when the helicopter crashed at a place in Niger State? There are so many. The psyche of the Nigerian soldier is wearing down. The Nigerian soldier is becoming battle weary. And most of those things that make him battle weary are avoidable. They're avoidable if we will just address those technology deficits. I've had humongous sums being used for perks and all those, those things we hear monies are being used for. And I tell you, maybe 1/10 of it or 100th of it will do exactly what's on my blueprint. May the commander-in-chief and those who have it in possession see what I recommended. It's bold, yes. It's daring, yes. But we have our backs against the wall. We can't mince words anymore. We have to go for the jugular of our threats. As I said during my last outing, we must lock horns and break horns. Democracy has teeth. Democracy can bite.
You were saying that you knew the commander who led the troops.
Yes.
You want to talk briefly about him?
Wonderful, outgoing, jovial officer, and he's also very simple. Probably that may have been the undoing. He's somebody you can talk to. He's amiable, he's approachable. He doesn't carry the stern, sober mien that most of us soldiers are known to carry. So that probably may have been the spirit and the outlook he went there with, only to be betrayed or exploited. But I just want to say, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them eternal repose.
Amen.
Their families the fortitude to bear this loss.
We talked about the widows. There are also orphans that you also mentioned.
Indeed.
Now, does the Nigerian Army has a structure in place to take care of the widows when their men are falling in active service? Because sometimes we hear stories, the soldier will die, then the widow will be asked to vacate the barracks, within a short period of time. And then many of these widows, they are just left high and dry, without even the entitlements of their late husbands being paid.
Much has been done. I would not shy away from that. Much has been done for, widows of deceased military personnel, but the much that has been done is a drop in a drum. I'll tell you why. We see every day and don't feel good about it. People who go and play. You know what it means to play, sir? We play. We play. We're playing. They play and they come back and are given awards. Streets are named after them. They become millionaires overnight. We see people who do the converse, which is a more serious business. They fight. They don't go and play. They fight. And when they fall in line of duty, what they get is nothing compared to those who went to play. That's the way I can put it. We're all wearing green, white, green. He's playing and enjoying himself. I'm fighting. I'm not enjoying myself. He comes back home, hale and hardy. He has money, he has medals, he has street. The medals my colleagues carry on their chests. When you see our generals, you see a lot of medals here. How much do you think those things are worth? They're not worth nothing compared to what that one you put on our footballers or our basketballers. They're all national heroes. They're all doing this nation well. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. Fighting is not it's not playing. Fighting is not playing.
Well, our condolences.
Thank you.
To the Nigerian military, to the families of the fallen victims, and to all Nigerians, because indeed this is something about the state of security in the country, and we are all affected. Thank you very much, Captain.
The pleasure is mine.
Aliyu-Babangida, for joining us on this day live. you.